So students, today we'll see the mandible bone. It is also known as the lower jaw bone. So this is the mandible. Each mandible, the mandible shape of the mandible is horseshoe shape. If you can see, this is the horseshoe shape of the mandible. It is made up of two half. Each half is having a body, and the posterior part, the quadrangular part, what is known as the ramus of the mandible. So we'll see one by one each part. So this is the body part. Each body part has got outer surface, it has got the inner surface, it has got the superior border, and it has got the inferior border. So the superior border, it gives the alveolar sockets, and from where your canine and the incisor canine and the premolars and molars are attached to it. Inferior border, it is a thick and it forms the base of the mandible, while the body has got the outer surface and it has got the inner surface. Now if you see the outer surface, if you see that both the half, they unite in the midline over here, and this area, the union is known as symphysis manti. However, it's a misnomer because this is not a joint. And if you trace it downwards, there is a triangular projection, what is known as mantle protuberance. Now, if you trace this mantle protuberance on either side, there are small rounded elevation which are over here. They are known as the mantle tubercle. The joint or the point over here is known as the gnathion. Now, further, if you see on the outer surface, see, this is what is known as your mantle foramen. So it lies below this premolar and the molar teeth over here, in midway in between in adults. If you see over here below this your incisor teeth, there is a depression known as the incisive fossa, and lateral to it there is an elevation known as the canine elevation. So this is how the outer surface. Further, if you see this, if you trace this anterior border of the ramus, if you trace it downwards, this what is line or ridge what you are able to see is known as the oblique ridge. So it starts below over here, and if you trace it backward, it is continuous with the anterior border of the ramus. Internally, if you see this is the internal surface. If you see internally, this elevation is known as the mylohyoid line. So this is your mylohyoid line. Above the mylohyoid line, there is a depression, and similarly, there is another depression below the mylohyoid line. Further, if you see in the midline, there are 4 elevations over here. The 1, 2, 3, and 4 elevation, they are known as the genial tubercle. So 2 superior genial tubercle and 2 inferior genial tubercle are there. If you see further over the base, on anterior part, there is a depression over here. Behind this mylohyoid line, if you see, there is a groove. This is known as mylohyoid groove. Now, if you concentrate on the ramus, if you see the ramus part of the mandible, see, it's a quadrangular in shape. It has got 4 borders and it has got 2 surfaces. This is its outer surface, this one is, and this is its inner surface. The borders, they are superior border. Superior border is notch shape. It is known as the mandibular notch. The anterior border, this is the anterior border. If you trace it, it is sharp. If you trace it downwards, it is continuous with the oblique line over the body. This is the inferior border, which is further a continuation of the base of the mandible. And this is the posterior border, which is the rounded one. So junction of the posterior border and the inferior border over here is known as angle of mandible. So this is the angle of mandible. Sometimes it is also known as the point, what is known as the gonion. Now further, if you see, there are 2 processes which are there on your ramus. The anteriormost projection, triangular projection, what you are able to see is your coronoid process, and the posterior one, this one, the rounded part, it is known as the condyloid process. The uppermost rounded part of this condyle, it articulates with the base of the skull to form what is known as the temporomandibular joint. Further, if you see, there is on anterior aspect of this condyle, there is a depression. This depression is known as pterygoid fovea, and this is sometimes also known as the head of the mandible. So this is the outer rough surface which you are able to see. If you see on inner aspect, the middle of the medial surface of this your ramus will show what is known as this opening. It is directed downward and it is known as the mandibular foramen. This mandibular foramen, just below it, there is a groove known as mylohyoid groove. Above the mandibular foramen, it is guarded by a tongue-shaped process, what is known as the lingula. So this is the lingula of the mandible. Further, if you see, there is the postero-inferior part of the medial surface, it is rough. So this is about the description wise the mandible. Now we'll see the attachment of the mandible. Now this is your incisive fossa. So the muscle rises from is the mentalis muscle as well as the mental part of orbicularis oris. This is your oblique line. So it gives attachment from before backward, that is depressor labii inferioris as well as depressor angularis oris, and from the posterior part over here the buccinator muscle gets attached. Over the lower part the platysma gets origin, while this base will give attachment to the your deep cervical fascia of the neck. The posterior ramus will give insertion to the muscles of the mastication. This postero-inferior part on the outer surface, including this whole area, rough area, will give insertion to the muscle that is masseter. The coronoid process, the superior border as well as the anterior border, including this area and the medial part, will give insertion to the muscle that is temporalis. This fovea or pterygoid fovea will give insertion to the muscle that is lateral pterygoid. On the medial surface, if you see, this lowermost rough part will give insertion to the muscle that is your medial pterygoid. On inner surface, if you see, this is your mylohyoid line and it will give origin to the muscle that is mylohyoid. Further, if you see, these are the superior as well as the inferior genial tubercle. The superior genial tubercle will give origin to the muscle of either side of the tongue, that is genioglossus, while the inferior genial tubercle will give origin to the muscle on either side, that is geniohyoid. This depressed area over here near the base will give origin to the anterior belly of the digastric muscle. So these are the muscles over here. Further, if you see, this area behind the mylohyoid line, this posterior part will give origin to the few fibers of the superior constrictor muscles. Between this buccinator and the superior constrictor, this area behind the third molar will give attachment to the ligament that is your pterygomandibular raphe. This lingula will give attachment to the ligament that is sphenomandibular ligament. Near the base of, or you can say the angle, will give attachment to the stylomandibular ligament. This condyloid process is surrounded by the capsular ligament and it is related to the lateral ligament of the TM joint on its lateral surface. Now we will see the different nerves are related to it. This mandibular foramen will transmit the inferior alveolar nerve and the vessels. This mylohyoid groove will transmit the mylohyoid nerve and vessels. Behind the third molar and above your mylohyoid line, this area, it is related to the nerve what is known as lingual nerve. The inferior alveolar nerve will further go in its canal over here. See, from here, mandibular foramen, and then it goes into the alveolar canal, and over here it comes out as a mental nerve and vessels. This notch, that is mandibular notch, is related to the masseteric nerves and vessels. The auriculotemporal nerve is related to this neck of the mandible. So these are the nerves which are related to it. Ligaments I have mentioned. Now further, as we know that this mandible, it derived from the first pharyngeal arch from the Meckel's cartilage. So it is a membranous cartilaginous origin. Ossifications occur. So most of this incisive part as well as this condylar and the coronoid part, they are derived from the cartilage, while rest of the your bone is derived from what is known as the Meckel's cartilage in the membranous ossification. If you see this mandible, the position of this mental foramen, in adult mandible, the position of mental foramen is in the midline, while in case of infant, it is towards the lower border, while in case of the old age, because of this teeth gets detached and this upper alveolar margin gets absorbed, so the mental foramen comes near this your superior border. Further, if you see the angle, Normally in adult this angle is about 110 degree or 120 degree, while in case of infants it is more obtuse and it is of 140 degree, while in old age it is also 140 degree. If you see this condyloid process and the coronoid process, in case of infant this coronoid process is at highest level than the level of the condyloid process. So this is how the different age related changes which are seen in mandible. So the nerves which are related to the mandible are lingual nerve over here, inferior alveolar nerve over here, the mental foramen will related to the mental nerves and vessels. This mylohyoid groove is related to the mylohyoid nerves. Over this lateral part, or you can say this neck of the mandible is related to the auriculotemporal nerve, and this notch, mandibular notch, is related to the masseteric nerves. And further if you see this area, it is related to the your marginal mandibular branch of the facial nerve. Further, if you see this area, this region as well as this portion, it is related to the your facial artery. So the facial artery will arch over here and then it will come over the exterior, or you can say the ramus over here, just in front of the anteroinferior angle of the masseter muscle to come onto the face. Mandible is related to the three glands, that is parotid gland over here, sublingual gland over here, and submandibular gland over here.